What if a small idea, created inside a college dorm room, could change the way billions of people connect with each other? What if a simple website made by a shy student could become one of the most powerful companies in the world? This is not just a dream. This is the real story of Mark Zuckerberg, the boy who built Facebook, and in the process, changed human communication forever. Childhood and early curiosity. Mark Elliott Zuckerberg was born on May 14, 1984, in White Plains, New York, USA. His father, Edward Zuckerberg, was a dentist, and his mother, Karen, was a psychiatrist. From the beginning, Mark's parents noticed that he was different from other kids. While other children spent hours playing outside, Mark was more interested in books, puzzles, and especially computers. At the age of just 12, he built a messaging program called ZuckNet. This program allowed his father's dental office to communicate with the house. It was not fancy, but it worked. Imagine a 12-year-old boy creating something like an early version of WhatsApp just for his family. This small invention showed two things. 1. Mark was not only intelligent but also practical. He built things that solved real problems. 2. He was deeply curious and enjoyed learning by doing, not just by reading. High school years and programming passion. During high school, Mark became obsessed with programming. He built small games, tools, and even music players. One of his programs could analyze your music choices and create playlists. Microsoft wanted to buy it and hire Mark while he was still in high school, but he refused. Why? Because he wanted to learn more before entering the business world. This is our first educational lesson. Sometimes you don't need to rush into money. Focus on learning first. Skills are more important than early profit. Harvard University, the turning point. In 2002, Mark Zuckerberg joined Harvard University. At Harvard, he was known as a computer genius. He could code at lightning speed, and he often created small but impressive projects. One such project was FaceMash. It allowed students to compare photos of classmates and vote on who looked better. The website became so popular that it crashed Harvard's servers. While the university shut it down and criticized Mark, the event showed him something important. People love to connect and interact online. Social interaction could be the future of the internet. This small incident planted the seed for something bigger. The birth of the Facebook. In 2004, Mark and his friends Dustin Moskovitz, Eduardo Saverin, Andrew McCollum, and Chris Hughes launched a website called the Facebook. It was designed for Harvard students to connect with each other, share profiles, and build a digital social life. At first, it was just limited to Harvard, but within weeks, thousands of students were signing up. Then it spread to other universities like Stanford and Yale. Soon, it was clear that this was not just a small project. It had the potential to become global. Mark faced a big decision. Should he continue studying at Harvard, or should he focus full-time on this project? He chose to drop out and work on Facebook full-time. This gives us our second educational lesson. Sometimes, education is not only about degrees. True education is about applying knowledge to solve real-world problems. Mark took the risk because he believed in his idea. Moving to Silicon Valley. Mark and his team moved to Palo Alto, California, the heart of Silicon Valley. They rented a small house that became both their office and home. Days and nights blended together as they worked non-stop to grow Facebook. At this time, Facebook was still only for college students, but the energy was electric. Every day more people signed up. By the end of 2004, Facebook had over 1 million users. Challenges and lawsuits. But success never comes without challenges. Very soon, Mark faced his first big controversy. 3 Harvard students, Cameron Winklevoss, Tyler Winklevoss, and Divya Narendra, claimed that Mark had stolen their idea. They had asked him to work on their project Harvard Connection, later known as ConnectU. Instead, Mark had built Facebook. This led to lawsuits which dragged on for years. In the end, Facebook settled by paying the Winklevoss twins millions of dollars. This was a tough lesson. Success attracts not only fans but also critics and competitors. The Facebook expands. Despite legal troubles, Facebook kept growing. By 2005, it opened to high schools and later to anyone over 13 years old. This was the real explosion. Millions of people from all over the world started creating accounts. Investors also began to notice. In 2005, Facebook received its first major investment of $12.7 million from Accel Partners. This money allowed them to expand their servers, hire new employees, and scale the platform. For Mark, this was a critical point. He had to transition from being just a coder to being a CEO, a leader who could make strategic business decisions. Educational lesson from Part 1. From the early life of Mark Zuckerberg, we learn some powerful lessons. 1. Curiosity is the root of innovation. At 12, he solved real problems with ZuckNet. 2. Focus on learning before money. Knowledge builds a stronger foundation than quick profit. 3. Apply your skills to real-world problems. Education is about impact, not just degrees. 4. Success always comes with challenges. Legal battles, criticism, and competition are part of growth. 5. Leadership is a skill you must learn if you want to grow your idea into something big. Ending of Part 1. By the end of 2005, Facebook was no longer just a college project. It was becoming a global platform. Mark Zuckerberg, once a shy Harvard student, was now leading one of the fastest-growing companies in the world. But this was just the beginning. The real story of Facebook's rise and the lessons hidden in it was still to come. The expansion beyond colleges. By 2006, Facebook had already become popular among college students. But Mark Zuckerberg wanted more. He had a vision, a platform where anyone, anywhere, could connect and share their life online. That year, Facebook opened to the general public. Anyone over 13 years old could sign up. This decision was a turning point. Suddenly, Facebook was not just a student tool, it was a global network. Families, professionals, teenagers, and even grandparents started joining. The network effect made it grow faster every single day. By the end of 2006, Facebook had 12 million users. Just 1 year later, it had more than 50 million. The arrival of competition. As Facebook grew, it attracted competitors. The biggest one was MySpace, which was the largest social network in the world at that time. Many people thought MySpace would dominate forever. But Mark Zuckerberg was different. He believed that Facebook's clean design, focus on real identity, and continuous improvement would make it stronger. And he was right. By 2008, Facebook overtook MySpace. It became the #1 social networking site in the world. The educational lesson here: success does not depend on being the first. Success depends on being the best at adapting and improving. The power of innovation. One secret of Facebook's success was constant innovation. Mark never allowed the company to stay the same. He introduced new features like the news feed, which showed updates from friends in one place. At first, users hated it. They protested and complained. But Mark stood firm, believing that people would eventually see its value. And he was right again. Today, the newsfeed is one of the most powerful parts of Facebook. It shaped the way billions of people consume information daily. Later, Facebook added the like button, photo tagging, and groups. Each of these features increased engagement and made people spend more time on the platform. Educational lesson. Sometimes people resist change, but if the change truly adds value, it will succeed in the long run. Becoming a billionaire. By 2007, Microsoft invested $240 million in Facebook, valuing the company at $15 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, still in his early 20s, became one of the youngest billionaires in history. But despite the wealth, Mark continued living a relatively simple life. He was often seen wearing the same gray t-shirt and jeans. For him, the mission was bigger than money. He wanted to connect the world. Global growth. By 2010, Facebook reached 500 million users. That same year, Mark Zuckerberg was named Time Magazine's Person of the Year. The little idea born in a Harvard dorm room was now changing the way 500 million people lived their daily lives. Facebook was no longer just a website. It was becoming part of human culture. People used it to celebrate birthdays, share news, start businesses, and even organize social movements. Challenges and criticism. But with great power comes great responsibility. As Facebook grew, it also faced challenges. 1. Privacy concerns. Users worried about how their data was being used. 2. Addiction. People spent hours scrolling, raising questions about mental health. 3. Misinformation. Fake news spread quickly through the platform. The most serious challenge came in 2018 with the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where millions of Facebook users' data was misused for political campaigns. Mark Zuckerberg was called to testify before the U.S. Congress. It was a tough moment. Educational lesson. With success comes responsibility. Technology is powerful, but it must be managed with ethics and care. Facebook becomes Meta. In 2021, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook's parent company would be called Meta. This was not just a name change. It was a signal of his new vision. building the metaverse, a virtual world where people could work, play, and socialize using advanced technology. Many people doubted this idea, just as they doubted personal computers in the 1980s or social networks in the 2000s, but Mark once again showed his long-term vision. Whether the metaverse succeeds or not, the decision shows his willingness to innovate and take risks. Mark's leadership style. Mark Zuckerberg's leadership style has often been described as intense and focused. He believes in move fast and break things, meaning innovation is more important than perfection. While this approach brought criticism, it also allowed Facebook to grow rapidly and stay ahead of competitors. The educational lesson: perfection should not stop progress. Sometimes, speed and adaptability are more valuable than waiting for the perfect plan. Giving back, the philanthropy. In 2010, Mark and his wife, Priscilla Chan, pledged to give away most of their wealth to charitable causes. They founded the Chan-Zuckerberg Initiative, focusing on education, health, and science. Their goal is to help cure diseases and improve learning opportunities for future generations. This shows another side of Mark. He is not only a businessman, but also someone who wants to create social impact. Key educational lessons from Zuckerberg's journey. From Mark Zuckerberg's story, here are some important lessons for students, entrepreneurs, and dreamers. 1. Start small. Dream big. Facebook started in a dorm room but became a global company. 2. Learning is greater than money. Focus on building skills, not chasing early profits. 3. Adapt and innovate. Success comes from constant improvement. 4. Face criticism with courage. Challenges will come, but resilience matters. 5. Think long-term. Vision for the future is what separates leaders from followers. 6. Responsibility is key. Technology without ethics can cause harm. 7. Give back to society. True success is not just wealth, but making a difference in people's lives. A powerful ending. Imagine this. A boy who built a small messaging program for his family at age 12 later built a platform that connects billions of people across the world. A shy student who once crashed Harvard's servers is now shaping the future of human communication. Mark Zuckerberg's story is not just about Facebook. It is about curiosity, persistence, vision, and responsibility. It teaches us that education is not limited to classrooms or degrees. Real education is about asking questions, solving problems, and never giving up on your dreams. So the next time you feel your idea is too small, remember this: one dorm room project changed the world. Yours might be next.